just around the southern tip of Chicago, then eastbound on Interstate 80 for a bit. The route to Ohio's Lake Erie feels different. It smells different. The steelworks, the smokestacks, the miles of harborless shore and broken rock, the manicured lakefront mansions, the cool nights, and endless miles of slate-colored water. The walleye capital of the world. These are things easily forgotten in a southern winter. But here in the north, I remember them well. And I remember them as home.
Oh yeah, we can go to that other...
Right there into the sun.
There's that other boat launch.
Boy, I've been talking about wind the entire year. It seems like everywhere I've gone, from the north to the south, back up again, there's just been wind. And I love it. It's great for fishing. But on a day like today, it's prohibitive. We're at Lake Erie in Ohio, a spectacular fishery, and right now we're targeting spring walleye. We want to get out on kayaks, we want to visit some islands and go scope around and drag some crankbaits around, but we literally can't even launch. This is just too dangerous of conditions, and this is all part of the game. You make a lot of sacrifices, a lot of preparations. You get up here, you get up in prime time territory, but Mother Nature has the ultimate decision. So we'll be patient, we'll be smart, and maybe we'll chuck around some bass baits in some calmer harbors. That's what Ketch Outdoors is all about sometimes. Wow, we found ourselves in an unexpected setting from what we thought might be main lake flats for walleye, trolling deep crankbaits, and really what we needed to do was just find a launch and some sections of water that were out of the wind, and we found exactly that. We're in Sandusky Bay, and we're fishing extremely stained water, but it's shallow and full of cover and rocks, and the sun's out. Those rocks just really like to retain the heat from the sun and heat up the water around it. And so far, these fish, which have been fairly active, 3 fish that were pretty solid in size, have been in and around this shallow cover and these rocks. So that's the pattern, that's the target. I really didn't bring the shallow water stuff, but luckily for me I have some square bills, 2 spinner baits, and I'm working the only chatterbait I own right now, which happens to be a white chatterbait. And in this stained water, I'd prefer something dark, like black and blue, or a dark pumpkin, or maybe an orange, fire craw or something like that. But hey man, they're hitting this, and the trailer I have to work with right now, I have some Kitex, but right now it's the Deal Diesel Minnow. So that's what's going on. It's really very enjoyable. I'm pitching at some pretty unique looking targets. Old metal structures, or we're in some sort of man-made bay lined with rocks, and shallow cover to just kind of fire at. It's actually my kind of fishing.
Lake Erie smallmouth. First one of these that we found all day. Here's to making the best of what could have been a really crummy day.
Bar where they drag us and we try to look in, you know the chain, it's like dark as hell.
Whose box is this?
Smashing Pumpkins was like the biggest alternative band in the country.
What are you throwing on, 12-pound line?
Yeah. Remember the big nasty?
10-pound line?
Ever.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, I can't.
Dude, what was weird than that was
rhythmic.
what the fuck? Winning gymnastics. Well, Rector, we love you, man. And then I'm not doing any more fucking things.
Yeah, intimacy. Tell you what, I'm going to move your plate and you just dump that in the next one while you got it in your hand.
Blurp. It's a toothpick. I'll drink.
It sounded crazy.
Wait, this spirit needs
So what I'm thinking is like that huge rock wall might hold some fish, maybe even some random walleye or smallies. You never know.
So the great thing about kayaks is that we could pretty much put them anywhere we want, and they're great for smaller, intimate bodies of water. But we're on a big lake right now. We're on a great lake, Lake Erie. We're targeting walleye. And yesterday, the wind prevented us from going out. Today, it might do the same, but it's supposed to die down in the afternoon. We want to circle an island and try to troll up some giant walleye. So we'll see what the day holds for us.
Where's the island? Is that it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's not that far.
That's the island?
Yes, that's the
You're
island.
kidding.
It's really good to have some backup plans when you're on these trips because, as we've mentioned before, Mother Nature can just kind of turn her head and everything gets ruined. So we found a backup spot here. It's protected from the wind. The water looks a little clear. We have some varying depth and some targets that we're going to hit, and anything's game. We're here for walleye, and that's what we hope we get, but maybe we can get some other species as well. Smallmouth bass, a pike, largemouth bass, and ultimately we're just going to enjoy the day, and that's what it's all about.
Fishing for whatever swims is the phrase. In Lake Erie, that can mean so many things. As one of the more biologically diverse of all the Great Lakes, this fishery can offer up some tremendous options when it comes to bent rods and tight lines. On this day, we rolled up on a massive school of drum that, in between a few walleye, kept us busy all day.
So I got something good here. It's been a drag for a while. I haven't seen it. It's most likely a drum. But on a slow day like this, it's just nice to get hooked up and to find some fish, I think, like Duke was mentioning. So we'll see what we got here. There's a chance that it's a nice walleye. Nope. That's a big drum. It's a fun fight, but not really what you're after. They get a lot bigger too. If we talk a little bit about the conditions we're facing here, we have air temps at about 58 degrees, very pleasant. We have bluebird skies, but I see some puffy clouds moving in, which is also a good thing. Our water temps are fluctuating between 56 and 59 degrees. And our water is definitely what you'd call stained. Not bad conditions. We're locating a few fish, we're trying to dial in, and what we're doing is we're gonna switch up depth, colors, and size with the things that we're trolling, and of course use our electronics to see what we can see. We got a few tips. Our buddies who are out in boats aren't having much success either, but with this kind of weather and this kind of setting, you just sit back and enjoy yourself. So we're going to try to dial in on these walleyes and try to get some of that flash and shine in front of you soon, man, so stay tuned.
Another drum, and it took me about 10 minutes to land this guy. My hands are like cramped up, man. If the tug is your drug, even a drum will scratch that itch sometimes. We missed a walleye right before this. We found a great rubble field out here, and we're not really on the main lake. We're here in Sandusky Bay, but like we're making the best of kind of a shitty weather day. I told you I'd show you a proper eye. We're gonna bump this one up. She's probably about 22, 23 inches. In Erie, that's a legal fish, but she's still a pretty good one. So we're gonna let her swim. It's cool enough that this fish will release just fine right now. So we're gonna go for the official bump. How good is the guy from Ketch Products? What did I say? It was about 22, 23 inches. We're at 22 on the money. It's about a 6-pound fish. Again, great table fare. All we're doing is trolling crankbaits. I'm gonna put the fish back in the water and let him swim. See, no problem. Cold water, below 60 degrees, usually walleye will release pretty well. That fish felt like it may have had eggs in it. So we're gonna let her swim. Dusty and I plan to go out on Erie proper to fish Kelly's Island and Middle Bass Island. Big problem was we've had just the wind blowing like hell for the last 2 days. So it's prevented us from going out there. So we're in Sandusky Bay, which is kind of a little bit of an estuary, kind of protected from the main lake, just to get out of the wind. And amazingly enough, we didn't know, we weren't marking any fish. We really didn't know what to do. And we caught some rocks on the sonar, and the rocks on the sonar turned into fish.
Rocks turning into fish. Now, wouldn't that be quite the magic trick? It seems to me, though, that on these trips, there's plenty of magic to go around. We walk on water. We cast spells all day. And at times, it's like we're pulling fish right out of a hat. When you dissect a card trick, an illusion, or even the magician, you'll discover that sleight of hand and crafty deceitfulness is the real magic. In our scene, on our stage of rivers and lakes, we walk on water using pedal drives and props. And our spells consist of nothing more than plastic with hooks. And we cast them not with a string of mystical phrases and theatrics, but with a rod and a reel and some simple fishing line. But no matter how many wands we waved that day, the walleye would simply not cooperate. Instead, a mega school of freshwater drum kept our drags hissing and our hearts skipping until the sun made long shadows. And there sure is something magical in the simplicity of that.
Happened to stumble upon what is like the craziest drum bite I've ever seen in my life. We're literally catching dozens of drum. We've caught a couple of really nice walleye, which was the target species for today. So we checked that box as well. And now we've got channel cat. Just for the hell of it, we're gonna throw them on the bump board. 26 inches of channel cat. Yeah, 26 inches.
The tactical approach was just as simple. Duke and I employed two different strategies. He would troll small to medium-sized Salmo brand crankbaits in perch and fire tiger on medium spinning gear using 10 to 17 pound fluorocarbon at varying lengths behind the kayak. I would cast small finesse plastics and swim baits on similar gear, but using a braid to fluoro line application. A 1/5 ounce Ned rig in green pumpkin, an 1/8 ounce drop shot rig, and a 1/2 ounce Mega Bass Dark Sleeper was all I needed to keep entertained in this beautiful little cut in the heart of Sandusky Bay.
Day three with these guys, with these Mountain Dew chugsters. Go!
Ready for some action.
Oh man, it's day three, and day one, the wind just blew us off the face of the earth. God, it feels so good out here. What a great morning, no wind. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a 180. We were out fishing for walleye, and we caught a couple nice ones, but it was a drum session, a drum solo. We caught a lot of drum, or sheepshead, whatever you want to call them. They're real fun. They're a good fight, a big battle, and when you can't catch the target species you're after, it's pretty neat. So we were kind of entertained all day. We got some good footage, but today the wind's died down, and we're hoping to get out to the islands that we want to get out to, even though it's a very far pedal. And if we make it out there, we feel pretty confident that we can get into some big walleyes. And to do it by kayak in these Great Lakes is pretty neat. A little tiring, but pretty neat. So we'll see what the day holds.
Like in 2016, it was
The day is going to hold whatever you hold. In other words, do you see Lake Erie as half empty or half full? A few hours into fishing the sloping flats between Catawba and Mouse Islands, you'll probably vouch for the latter. Big waves and busy ferry lanes were accompanied by some big fish. On our final day, a 23-inch walleye and a 19-inch smallmouth played lead behind the steady beat of some hungry drums.
We're bumping in a nice 18.75, maybe 19 inches. Perfect eater. I got a nice Lake Erie smallmouth. Boy, these are dark. Got one that was pretty big that jumped off yesterday at the launch ramp, but this is not what we're after, but a little more of my game. So it looks like the bite's picking up. The walleye, smallmouth now. Let's see what comes next. I want a hog, 6 pounds. Come on, man.
My arm is literally too short to hold this fucking rod. I'm dead serious, dude. Pike, walleye, small chance that I went through some rocks and got some zebra mussels and any fish would have snapped it, but not likely. I just retied not long ago. Yeah.
It's like a 17.
Remind me to make better casts. Hey, the action's here. How you swallowed my bait. Okay, ready for the board? You know I throw that dark sleeper everywhere in the country, man, and it just catches fish non-stop. Playing with fire here with the teeth. But such a nice eyes like that, man. You wanted to put that on the table, no problem. So we're not exactly crushing them, but we did get what we came for. A couple ones like this. They get bigger, but you know, we're not walleye experts, but we're trying to learn, and that's exactly what we did this trip. So there's a nice Lake Erie walleye, and that's what Ketch Outdoors is all about.
We let the windy foam of a Great Lake adventure wash over us and checkmarked another box on a list of amazing fishing hotspots in America. Unfortunately, our goal of catching numbers of giant walleye seemed to vanish before our very eyes. Or maybe it was just sawed in half. One of the tricks we should master doesn't require deceit at all. It's learning to make the most of what we have. It's easy to know the price of things, but perhaps a bit harder to know their real value. A few days of hanging out, eastbound down I-80, casting for whatever swims on the shores of Lake Erie, is one of the greater shows on earth. We are Ketch Outdoors.